So bag is ready. Let's take this one outside today. I'm going to try and catch that squirrel on camera. And in the meantime, we're going to talk about strengthening your link with the spirit world. Let's make our way to the woods. Well, that's much quicker. Don't know why I didn't do that in previous times. So, today's video, we're going to be looking at strengthening your link, and it can be a very, very short video, but I will try and give some substance behind what it is that I'm trying to say. So the biggest problem we have with mediumship and the development of is self-doubt. That will destroy it every single time. So a viewer asked me, you speak of lessons or ways to strengthen your link outside of practice. What are these ways that you speak of? And so that's what I'm going to try and get across to you today in this video. So I'm always trying to find analogies for the channel, you know, and I have to sort of just keep my eyes peeled most of the time for finding things that are very similar. And one that I can relate self-belief in is actually something that's very, very far from mediumship. So things like singing. All of us would probably love to sing, I imagine. But when we hear ourselves, it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that's me. I can't believe I sound that bad. However, when you're in the car and you're driving, and you know the lyrics to the song, and you know the bit where you've got to go up and you've got to hit a note, and you know the breaths that you've got to take, I imagine that you sound pretty good at that point, don't you? And it's not because you're gauging yourself. You're not trying to impress anyone. This is just a private karaoke session within the car. The confidence is there. You're gonna go for it. You're gonna do it. And because of that, you sound a little bit better. You sound like you know what you're doing, and it's coming across really well in the car. But if I asked you to present that to somebody else, you know, like you've got a passenger in that car, oh, it's a completely different story then, isn't it? So I know many of you have this idea of practicing, more practice. And through this more practice approach, you start to convince yourself that this is what I need. This is how I need to improve. This is what I need to become better at doing reading, so on and so forth. But I need to sort of offer a different kind of way there, you know, because if you're injecting any kind of self-doubt there's a moment, what if I mess this up? What if it don't go quite right? What if I don't say the right thing or the right relationship? Then you're adding this ingredient of doubt into that mixing bowl that I speak so much of. And if you're practicing this on a regular basis, you're starting to attune yourself to add that ingredient of doubt. And so the more and more you practice, the more and more you grow comfortable with the idea that I'm allowed to add this ingredient within said bowl. When actually this is where I say it's not about practice. Mediumship is definitely not about practice. You have to get the mind in the right place. Get the mind in the right place, and it'll fall into place for you. And so you need to start adding the ingredient of, you know what, I'm all right at this. I'm starting to become more accurate with this. I'm starting to blend better, or allow this communicator to come a little bit closer. Then we draw on the fine line of egotism and arrogance, and then obviously that would be another video that we would have to sort of stamp that out. There's a very, very, very fine line of confidence and arrogance. You know, there's usually the two kind of people that you'll find along your journey, especially when you're into the development aspects of it. There are people that kind of well, it's more like free. You got some people that will do a workshop, maybe 2 or 3 workshops, and that's it. They're out there. They want to be on platform, and away they go. And you can see that they should have stayed in development. Their connection isn't so strong. You've got other people that stay a year or 2, and then they start to venture out and they start reading for the clients. And then you've got people that are forever in development. I mean, and I know mediums are constantly developing. I'm constantly looking to improve my own mediumship. But then you get this third section where people are still in the group. People are still sitting with the same people, the same tutors, and etc., etc. And I've had it where I started off at a circle, done a residential for a period of time in development, and then I've gone back maybe 4 years later, and I'm teaching a group, I'm teaching a class, with all the same people still in the group. So their safety is the pack, the group. You know, I need confidence. I need to build faith, etc., etc. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to first work out which group we're placing ourselves into there. And I'm sure in everybody's mind, every single one of us, we want to be better. We want to, we want to do a good service. We want to be a good voice for the spirit world. But we will never achieve that if we are blinded by certain ways. Like if I believe that if I went to one workshop, and then I'm good enough to go out. It's not enough. It's not enough. There's not enough time there to be in full understanding of the mechanics and the relationship that you're developing. You've got that second one that I spoke of, where I spent about 2 years in intensive training, 3-4 times a week, really trying to understand what was going on and find the flaws in my philosophy, the flaws in the relationship when it wasn't working right for me. Or that last group that I spoke of, are you someone that requires this network, these people around you to make you feel good, to make you feel confident in your ability to communicate with the spirit world? And we have to be honest with ourselves. What group are we in there before we can even start to fix the problem or the issue that we are having in our communication? So I have always been one of these people that think your spirit team are the best teachers no matter where you go. However, I do also accept that there are some teachers know you a little bit. They know your hang-ups, where you're getting stuck within your mind or within your communication. Some of these teachers can really push you forward, and that was something that I had to do. I had to find someone to say, look, this is what I've got, but it's not going right. I don't know where I'm going wrong, and get like a second opinion almost, and then back to sitting with the team and going through the experiences they want. Now, many of you will say, well, what do you mean? How do you do that? And mine would be this time set aside. I'd build the relationship. It's not all about the communication. It's about that faith aspect that I have with my team. And building that was paramount for my mediumship. I would set time aside, very regular, once a week. And I would never miss that, no matter where I was or what I was doing. That was like, it was an appointment, and I would sit and go through the experience. Now that can become very frustrating as well. I do need to warn you that sometimes it felt like nothing was going on. Maybe it was just this colour journey, or maybe it was like a mind journey, or it would be very particular in one area, and other times it'd be absolutely nothing whatsoever. I wouldn't feel or sense absolutely anything, but I would sit my hour or my 2 hours that I had set. And then very quickly you start to notice change. You start to notice that things are a little bit clearer, a little bit smoother, a little bit quicker, or slowed down dependent on where the problem was. And so it made sense to me that of course stuff's going on behind the scenes that we will never understand, that we will never comprehend. So I know it's hard sometimes, when you're trying to build your confidence, and when it's been going wrong for a number of times, and this week I'm just not feeling it, and I'm just not hitting the mark, or I'm not feeling that connection where the spirit world and you are joining very much together. I fully get it, I fully understand, and we've all been there. But you do have to start adding this ingredient of when you are being good, when you are getting it right, and logging these feelings and using that process there to build confidence. So one of the biggest things that you'll find across your development is discipline, is knowing when to move that mind to the spirit world and when to just be normal, when to have a very normal day. And this is something, again, that I would say is paramount for your development. You'll never see me just randomly talking about the spirit world, giving a communication like in a supermarket or anywhere. I set this time aside as though it's sacred in some way. So when and if the time is approached, what will happen is I move my mind, and I know whatever's in my mind is that has been influenced, impregnated with an idea from the spirit world. And I know that the moment I stop that time, so I step off a platform, or the reading comes to an end, or the class is over, whatever is in my mind is that of Charlie. Again, this is something I think is very, very, very important. I can't stress enough how important this is. This is something that will create a discipline that will give you faith, even more faith, of when you are right and when it is going wrong, and you'll know how to fix it because you have sorted this nonsense out that goes on in there. You know when the spirit world are there, and you know when they're not, because you've developed this awareness, this discipline of mind of when I'm working, and when I'm not, I'm not. And this will just give you so much clarity. Oh. So it's at this point you will then say, but what about the pausing, Charlie? You know, like I'm trying to work it all out, but through that blending, through that understanding, through that relationship that we are building, we can then start to embrace that, and now we can start working on real tight mechanics. We're trying to dial in that relationship so we know when it's the spirit world, and we know when we've got to work a little bit harder. We know when we've got to be going off to ask questions. And then at this point, while you're presenting this information here, you will start to feel like there are multiple versions of you. You will start to feel like while you send one off to get a statement or information, etc., you can be presenting it while one of the others can be presenting the current one, while another one goes off and gets the next one while one is in operation. So actually the best form of development is that relationship with yourself. Building that up, understanding you, understanding where you get it wrong, and this in turn will just filter into your mediumship. So the long and the short of the story here today is that self-development, that relationship with the spirit world, actually starts with you. No amount of practice, no matter how many courses or classes you turn up to, the work has to begin in here. So believe in yourself, believe in your team, be honest with yourself, and you'll start to notice a very quick, marked improvement. So enough of this now. Edit's going to be a nightmare again. But I thank you for all joining me and encouraging me to make more videos for the problems that you have in yourself. Hopefully they help you out a little bit. But remember what I said. Stop the chaos, get a discipline in here, and you'll notice a very quick difference. So I'm going to round this one up today. Subscribe if you aren't already. Anything you want covered, you can always leave it in the comments below. And I'll see you all in a few days.